Welcome to the fourth session of Module 4 Information Theory and Coding. So in the previous session we have seen how to generate a code based on the given generator matrix and the data D, and also we have seen how to calculate the syndrome and how to take a decision as whether the received code vector has any errors in it or not, right? So we will study the same thing with an example now. A 7,4 block code has to be generated. So 7,4 clearly says that n value is equal to 7 and k value is equal to 4. So for this the generator matrix is given. So we know that generator matrix will be in the form of I, k and p. So k value is equal to 4, therefore ik is nothing but the identity matrix of the order 4. So we have written an identity matrix first, and remaining part of this matrix is nothing but my parity matrix. Now the parity check matrix H can be generated as P transpose and In minus K. So to write P transpose, let me consider P. So these three columns, the last three columns of G are nothing but P. I will take the transpose of this P and write it as the first part of my parity check matrix H. So 1110 is the first row, 1101 is the second row, 1011 is the third row. Now this is my P transpose. The remaining part must be In minus K. So we can see that n minus k value is 7 minus 4, which is equal to 3. Therefore we have an identity matrix of size 3, and hence this is my In minus k. Now we have G and H. G can be used for encoding and H can be used for decoding. Now let me consider one of the combination. Since k value is equal to 4, my data length should be equal to 4. So let me consider the combination 1011. As we know, C can be generated as D into G. Therefore multiply this D with this generator matrix in order to generate the polynomial. That is the code word. So 1011, this is 1 into 1 becomes 1, and remaining all bits are 0. Therefore my first bit would be 1. Again 1011 multiplied with the second bit. Here the second bit is 0 and here the second bit is 1. Therefore the total multiplication will give you 0. Similarly multiply this with the third row, you will get 1. Multiply this with the fourth row, you will get 1 again. Multiply this with the fifth row, you will get 1 plus 1, which is equal to 0. Multiply this with the sixth row. Again here you are going to get 0. Multiply this with the last row, you will get 1. So this is my code word for the message 1011. Similarly find out all the code words for the data varying between 0000 up to 1111. So you will get 16 different combinations. For all those combinations you try to get the code word. Now let us go to the decoder part. For decoder part, what we have to do is we have to calculate the syndrome as R into H transpose. So we will consider two cases here. My R value same as my C value, by assuming that no error has been occurred during the transmission, and then I will assume that the second case R is not same as C, but there is an error in the received code vector. But however, for both the cases we will require H transpose. So let us generate H transpose first. So we know what is our H value. From that write rows as columns, you will get H transpose. Okay. Now let me consider the first case when R is equal to C. So if you consider that R is equal to C, that is the transmission error is equal to 0, then calculation of syndrome will give you 0, 0, 0. So how will you get 0? Just multiply this code with the first column of H transpose. 1 into 1 is 1, 0, 1. So 1 plus 1 becomes 0 here. Then this will be 0, 0, 0, 0. So you will get 0. Similarly multiply this code vector with the second column. Multiply the code vector with the third column. Why we are multiplying the code vector? Because we are assuming that the error is 0. Therefore, your code vector can be treated as the received vector. So we are multiplying code vector with H transpose. Therefore, we will obtain syndrome to be equal to 0. That is quite obvious, because there are no error means you will get syndrome equal to 0. Now let us assume that third bit of the code vector has suffered an error in the transmission. So my received code vector would be the code vector which has been sent. So this is the valid code word what I am taking. And if I assume that the error is in the third bit, then I have to take only the third bit 1 and remaining bits as 0. Then your received vector is nothing but the actual code vector sent plus another error pattern in which I am taking the third bit as 1, because I am assuming that third bit is in error. So now my received vector, by taking these two combination, is nothing but this received vector. You will even obtain this received vector without addition. Simply invert the third bit over here. Because if the code vector has suffered error in the third bit means 1 has been improperly received as 0. So that will give you the received code vector. Now if you calculate the syndrome as R into H transpose, that becomes 1, 0, 1. So a non-zero syndrome clearly says that it is not an error-free vector which has been received. Instead, it has an error. Now to identify which particular bit is in error, compare this syndrome. Okay, compare this syndrome with the each and every columns of your H, or I can say each row of your H transpose. So 1, 0, 1 matches with the third row, and since it matches with the third row, at the decoding end, decoder can clearly conclude that the error is in the third bit. After concluding that the error is in the third bit, if it inverts the data, it is going to obtain the actual code which has been transmitted. Therefore, this syndrome along with the H transpose matrix will help the decoder in identifying the error position, and since it is a binary data, correction is very simple. Just invert that particular bit. That is replace 0 with 1 and 1 with 0. That is nothing but the correction. Now we know how the error detection and correction can be done. But if there are more than one errors, does our block code is capable of identifying even those errors, and is it capable enough to correct those errors? For that we need to define some of the terminologies, because based on these values only we can say whether our code or whether our block code is capable of identifying or correcting the errors. If so, how many errors, right? So for that, let us define some of the terms like Hamming weight, Hamming distance and minimum distance. So Hamming distance or Hamming weight is nothing but the number of non-zero components in the code word. So if I have a combination 0, 1, 0, assume that code size is only 3, then Hamming weight of that code is 1, because it has only one non-zero component. If I take the code word 0, 1, 1, its Hamming weight would be 2. If I take 1, 1, 1, its Hamming weight will be 3. So number of non-zero components of a particular code will define its Hamming weight. And what is Hamming distance? So distance is always measured between two code vectors. So Hamming distance is nothing but the number of components in which they differ. For example, 0, 0, 0 and 1, 1, 1. If they are C1 and C2, then its Hamming distance is equal to 3, because they differ in each of the bit position by 1, 0, 0, 0 and 1, 1, 1. Therefore, their Hamming distance is equal to 3. What is minimum distance? So if we have a group of codes, calculate the Hamming distance between two codes, and whichever Hamming distance is minimum, that minimum Hamming distance is treated as the minimum distance. Therefore, minimum distance is the smallest distance between any pair of code words. Let us see an example. Find the Hamming weight of the code word and minimum distance. Hamming weight for the first one is 0. Hamming weight for the second code is 3 because it has 3 non-zero components. Similarly, third code has 3 non-zero components. Fourth code has 4 non-zero components. Fifth code word has 3 non-zero components. So accordingly, we are listing out the Hamming weight. What about Hamming distance? Hamming distance between these two code words is 3. Hamming distance between C2 and C3 is, they differ in this position. So 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Therefore, Hamming distance between C2 and C3 is equal to 4 because they differ in this second bit, third bit, and this is same, fifth bit and in the sixth bit. Therefore, the Hamming distance between C2 and C3 is equal to 4. Similarly, if I check these two, C7 and C8, they differ at this position, and at this position. Therefore, Hamming distance between these two is nothing but 3. So similarly, list out the Hamming distance between each pair of code words and pick out the minimum value. That minimum value will give you the minimum distance. Okay. Now let us see one theorem on this Hamming distance and Hamming weight. So the theorem states that minimum distance of a linear block code is equal to the minimum weight of any non-zero word in the code. So it just says that minimum distance d minimum is equal to minimum weight of any non-zero code in the code word. So to prove this, let me consider this example. It says that minimum distance is nothing but the minimum weight. So here minimum weight, you can see that 3, right? So let me consider this one. So if I take minimum weight as 3, if I compare that with a code word of all zeros, then I can see that Hamming distance is also 3 here. Similarly, if I consider this code word and compare it with 0, this code word and compare it with 0. So if you consider any non-zero component and compare that with all zero component, always its weight would be its distance, and minimum weight is nothing but my minimum distance. That is what we stated in this proof. First of all, it is clear that minimum distance cannot be greater than weight of the minimum weight non-zero code word, because all zero n tuple is also a code word. But if it is less, then the sum of two closest code words is a code word of weight lower than the minimum weight, which is impossible. Therefore, for linear block codes, always minimum weight is equal to the minimum distance. Therefore, in such cases, what you have to do is just write down the weight, pick up the minimum value, and that will be your d minimum. You need not to compare each and every code word. And after comparing, because if you want to find out a minimum distance, then first of all you have to find out the Hamming distance. And we know that Hamming distance is always calculated between pair of words. So how many Hamming distance you have to calculate, just verify. Between all zeros, C1, C2, C1, C3, C1, C4, C1, C5, C1, C6, C1, C7, C1, C8. Similarly, C2, C3, C2, C4, C2, C5 and so on. Similarly, C3, C4, C3, C5, C3, C6, right? So in this way you will have too many combinations for which you have to find out the Hamming distance. Only after that you can tell what is the minimum distance. So instead of doing that, we will make use of this theorem, which says that minimum distance is always equal to minimum weight. Therefore, we will always pick up the minimum weight, in this case 0, because we cannot take a minimum weight of a zero code. We have to take the weight of non-zero code word only, so I cannot pick 0. Among the remaining weights, the minimum value is 3. Therefore, from that theorem, I can directly conclude that minimum distance for the given set of code word is equal to 3. This is how our theorem will be helpful in deciding the minimum distance. Thank you.